Greetings, I'm the Bulgarian Troglodyte. So today I'm gonna do this short stream of consciousness video about my film watching year so far, which has been pretty bad, and I'll talk about why it has been bad, and I'll talk about maybe some plans for the rest of the film watching year, but we'll see how this video goes. I didn't plan this out a lot. But I haven't watched that many films this year, only like a little over 100, although it might actually be less than 100 because on Letterboxd I have logged so many TV shows this year, so the number of actual films it's probably actually way lower than 100, and we are already in July, so it's pretty bad. So my numbers will be quite awful for the year unless I go into some crazy film binges later on the year, which is very much possible because that sometimes happens. That I might start watching like 2-3 films a day or something, and then of course the numbers will go up very quickly. But I don't really care about the numbers, I'm just kind of saying that I've been watching less films than usually. And then another thing is that I haven't been able to find any new 5-star films this year, so every single new watch that I have had this year I've rated less than 5 stars, which is very weird because we are again already at July, and when I think about last year, for example, I had seen several 5-star films already again that I watched for the first time, like Fassbinder's Martha, Frank Borsaki's I've Always Loved You, the Raul Ruiz film Three Crowns of the Sailor, All of Us Strangers by Andrew Haigh, Perfect Days by Wim Wenders, so that's already like several 5-star films that I watched last year, like before this time of the year. But this time, or this year, I haven't been able to find any new 5-star films. The closest one was the Naoko Ogikami film Game Diner, the Seagull Diner, which I really loved, and that might become an all-time favorite. It's kind of currently on the cusp of, or in my kind of near favorites list, that maybe on a rewatch I will add it to my favorites list, but I'm not quite sure, it's hard to say. But yeah, I really love that film, but yeah. Then early on the year I watched some Jacques Rivette films that I had been wanting to see for a long time, like Gang of Four and The Duchess of Langeais. And the Gang of Four I loved a lot, and yeah, so that was like a great watch, but not quite like a 5-star movie to me. It was more of a 4.5-star film. But of course I don't rate films 5 stars like all the time anyway, but it's still weird that we are already in the 7th month of the year and no 5-star films. I think it has never happened to me before. Usually in a year I would kind of predict that I will find maybe at least 10 new 5-star films, usually more than 10. But I think these days, when I've kind of gone through much of the canon and stuff like that, I'm kind of expecting every year that it might be a bit harder to find new 5-star films, but I'm still expecting to find like, again, at least 10 a year, but so far this year I haven't found any. Although I think it's partly my own fault because the type of stuff that I have watched, I haven't watched that much kind of serious art house stuff this year. A lot of the serious art house stuff that I have watched this year have been rewatches and not new watches. And I've watched lots of kind of more middlebrow movies, and then kind of art house films that aren't the kind of most serious art house films, so no kind of Raul Ruiz, Jacques Rivette type of stuff, but more like a slice of life, 4 out of 5, good level of art house that doesn't innovate anything or doesn't have a unique style, but it's kind of well made stuff. So that type of stuff I've watched a decent amount this year. Yeah. And then I've watched some trashier stuff like Freaky Friday and The Princess Diaries and things like that. And then one thing that has kind of affected my film year this year a lot has been that I've been obsessed about TV shows a lot. And one of the reasons was that I decided to subscribe to Viki Rakuten on January, and then I've been watching so many J-dramas and K-dramas this year, and that has of course taken so much time out of film watching. Although I'm glad that I did that because I've enjoyed watching those series so much. And actually with TV shows I've managed to find lots of new favorites, but with films I haven't been able to find new favorites. But I think I can still rescue this film watching year if I just start kind of watching and prioritizing films that I think will become favorites. So I could, for example, watch some of the Raul Ruiz films that I haven't seen yet, because many of them look very interesting, like Mysteries of Lisbon. Then there's the film Time Regained. That's adaptation of Proust, I think. Then he has also a couple other films that I've been really looking forward to. I don't remember the names. What's that one? Manuel's Destinies or something like that. That looks really amazing. So I think that's one kind of source of potential new favorites. Yeah. Then there are the Joan of Arc films from Jacques Rivette. I think those are good potential new favorites as well. Then, well, Japanese new wave stuff is always a good source for new favorites. So if I went in and I watched some of those that I haven't seen yet, that could be an option. Then I think there are still quite a few Mikio Naruse films that I haven't seen, but he's a director that I enjoy a lot, and I've managed to find a couple of favorites from his filmography, so that could be another option. Then Nobuhiko Obayashi has been a director in the past couple of years that through him I've been managing to find lots of new favorites. Although I'm kind of getting to the point that where I've seen kind of most of the films that are easily accessible by him. Although I have still like one on Blu-ray that I haven't seen because it's a very long movie, so that's the only reason I haven't watched it yet. So that's another one that could easily become a favorite. Yeah. And then of course there are so many great art house films that I still haven't seen, so I just need to start watching more of them again a bit more rigorously, and then I'm sure that I can find some new favorites in there. But if I continue watching these kind of middlebrow movies or lower tier art house films, it's gonna be very difficult to find new favorite films there. Again, many of those films I enjoy. They are good movies, and obviously I wouldn't watch them if I thought that they were like really awful. But they aren't kind of amazing to the point that I would say that, oh, that's a new favorite, oh, that's a 5-star film. Yeah, so maybe I kind of need to change my film watching approach, although I've kind of just tried to go in with my mood, and that's why I've been watching so many of these J and K dramas and stuff like that, some anime as well. Yeah. And then a problem for me is always the fact that I have so many hobbies. Like I always say, that it's really hard to balance those out. Again, music is my favorite hobby, and I put so much time into listening to music, so that often takes away time from film watching. Although, as again, music is my number one passion, my favorite thing in life, I'm not gonna reduce my music listening because of film, because music is more important to me. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see how the rest of the film year will go. Will I just keep on watching these TV shows and middlebrow movies, or will I get my act together and watch a bit more art house as well? And I have watched some art house stuff, like I said, I watched some of the Jacques Rivette films, for example, but I need to get back into watching that type of stuff more. And I'll be watching some Italian movies soon, so that might be a good avenue for finding new favorites as well, because I've said this many times that I'm gonna do a reaction video to this kind of 100 Italian films list that a viewer of mine requested. Although that video again might come a bit later than it was originally supposed to, because I want to watch few films from the list and I want to be in the mood for those films when I watch them, so we'll see when that happens. Yeah. And I even mentioned those Italian films to Daisuke on his latest stream. I managed to talk to Daisuke for 10 or so minutes once again, kind of towards the very end of his last stream. So that was cool to talk to him again. I've now talked to him like I think 5 or 6 times in a row in his live streams, so it's nice to keep that streak going. Yeah. But anyway, that was some thoughts about my film watching year, some brief thoughts. Yeah, I actually managed to keep this video fairly short, so I'm glad about that. But if you have any recommendations for some crazy art house films that I might love, let me know. Yeah, and how has your film watching year been so far? And what are some of your favorite first time watches of the year? Yeah, let me know. Thanks for watching. Don't drink Coke at all. Sayonara and arigato gozaimashita.